Okay, perfect. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. I would also like to thank the Brentwood Library for making this opportunity available for us to talk about starting your business and what the Stony Brook Small Business Development Center can do to assist you in that process. My name is Bill Zeh. I am a business advisor with the Business Development Center. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go over what we're going to cover today. First, we're going to start off with an example of somebody who started their own business, somebody who's fairly local. Then I'd like to talk about what we at the Stony Brook Small Business Development Center can do to assist you on every step of starting your business. Then we're going to talk about your ideas, your business, what you would like to do. Look at how you can understand the market that you're getting into. Understand your options for starting and running your business. Talking about developing the plan, the business plan. Understanding the financial options of how you can support your business. Then there are the structures. How do you organize the business? Then there is the registration processes you will go to make sure everything is recorded properly. And finally, we're going to end up with finding support for your business, some of the resources. And as we finish each section, I'll just ask April, who's assisting me today, to let me know if there's any questions in the chat. So let's start with an example. Now, the example we chose is somebody you may be familiar with if you watch Shark Tank. He's a fairly local person. He's from Queens, and he started his own business, I guess, about 25 years ago. You may have heard of the company, it's FUBU, and you may have seen him on Shark Tank. Now, when he was starting out, he had an idea for clothing. He was interested in clothing, and he had an idea for a clothing company. So how did he start? Well, his mother taught him how to sew, so he did the sewing himself. He actually worked with one of his neighbors to do his first range of products. His mother allowed him to work in their Hollis, Queens home. And he and his neighbor sewed 90 caps. Now, the uniqueness of what he did is he was noticing the caps. He wanted to make them a little unique. And he tied a little bit of fish line around the top of the hat to make it like a little bubble, made it unique. So he and his neighbor, when they had the 90 hats, went out to a street corner in Queens on Jamaica Avenue, and they were selling the hats. Now, on the first day, he made $800. Now, I want to caution you, he was very successful the first day. Sometimes that's not the way it works. A business is not a sprint. A business is a marathon. And there's times when things work well for you, and there's times when things don't. And then there's your reaction to that. Now, Damon actually continued to build his business, FUBU, while he had a full-time job at Red Lobster. Now, 25 plus years later, he's a very famous person, and he is worth approximately $350 million. That's not bad for a guy who started sewing ski caps in his own home. Now, I'd like to let you know what we do at the Stony Brook Business Development Center. We assist startups in all phases of what you have to go through to get your business up and running. All of our assistance or our counseling is free, and it's confidential, and it is all provided by certified New York State business advisors. I've listed a number of areas where we assist in. This is not all the areas, but to give you an idea of how we can work with you to get your business started. So, there's the business planning. It's the idea of how do you get the money, the marketing. Everybody is interested in online. If you're not online, you're not in business today, pretty much. And we cover all areas of online activity, to include websites and, your social media and basically taking payments online. Then there's also an understanding of how you manage your finances. We also have a very active area in supporting minority and women-owned businesses achieving the appropriate certification so they get the advantages that presents. We also assist a lot of companies in getting ready and certified so they can get state contracts for their goods and services. In addition to that, we have ongoing workshops similar to the one that we're in today and tools available for you to help you understand the details of starting and running a business. Now, let's say that you have an idea to start your business. That's great. Now, what happens if you would like to start a business, but you don't have an idea of what you want to do? Well, we can help you work through the various things to think about so you can have an idea to start your business. And some of those things that we explore with you would be, what are you interested in? What do you enjoy? What do you have that's a passion? Do you have a hobby that you could turn into a business? Okay. Now, also you can take a look at what do you have to offer? What do you do well? Do you have a special talent? And also you have to understand, what do you want to do with your business? Do you just want to make money? I mean, that's okay. But some people want to be their own boss. They don't want to work for anybody. Some people are looking at, well, if I can start a business, I can create something, a legacy for my family. So there's the opportunity to create something. And the other thing we'll help you take a look at is, what's the current market? What are the consumers doing? What are the new opportunities? You have an idea. Is there a version of that is unique? What's hot? Okay. So do we have any questions, April?
No, not right now, Bill.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Now, we're going to talk now about assessing the market opportunity. So it's important for you, if you have an idea, to be starting to get focused on who is your target market and understand why they would possibly buy your good or your services. And it's very important when you're starting out to understand, what are the other guys doing? What's the competition? What's unique about what they're doing? What is not working for them? Also, the bigger picture is what's going on in the industry as a total. Also, when you're in business, as I mentioned before, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And you will always be learning about your customers, what your competition is doing and the industry, so you stay current to all the trends. Now, at the Business Development Center, we have an area that actually supports us in doing market research. So you could work with your advisor. You can actually then get a complete idea of what you want to do down, commit it up to paper. And then we send it off to the market research department, and they will do the research to tell you what's going on in that market and help you understand how you can position your business. Okay. Now, how do you start your business? Well, there's a number of options. You can run your business online. Now, what's the advantage of that? Well, basically, it's very low cost to entry, very low overheads. It can be set up in a relatively short period of time, and it's a fairly low risk option to start your business. Another option is, as Damon John did, is start your business and use your home. Once again, it's a low cost entry. There's low overheads. Now, there are some challenges in working at home. One of them is that work-life balance that we all hear about. Okay? So you have to understand how to manage that. There's also a lack of social interaction that you experience if you were on a job. And there's, potentially there could be a lack of a professional place to have meetings that you may have to have. And also, working from home may limit the types of businesses that you can run from your home. Now, there's also freelancing. If you have something that you do very well, you could freelance and do it. You can be your own boss, and you can actually enjoy what you're doing. It's a low cost to entry. There's low overheads. You are able to, with freelancing, to start that part-time to see how it works and maybe modify your approach so you can get the customers that you need. And the other advantage of freelancing is there's no physical space required. Now, the last option we put up there is franchising. Franchising is a relatively low risk because there's a proven business model that works. However, it may require a greater commitment and in terms of learning the process that the franchise wants you to learn. And also, it's probably going to require a larger investment. And you also, when you're getting involved in franchising, have to understand the fees. There are times there are franchise fees, and or sometimes there are monthly costs. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to take a look at is developing a business plan. When you're starting out, it's very important to have a understanding of what you're trying to do and how you're going to do it. So you'll need to define what is success for you. You have to set out some goals and keep them real and keep them in mind. You also need to understand or clarify what you want to do with your business. Your business plan is also going to help you to understand how you're going to target work with your target market. And also, it's important to understand who isn't your market. You can't be everything to everybody, so you have to focus on what you want to do. And which is going to help you define your products and your services that you're offering. It's also important that you create deadlines, tasks, and measurements so that you can track what you're doing. And if you're ahead of schedule, that's great. If you're behind schedule, you understand what you have to do to catch up. Okay. Also, with the business plan, you need to manage the planning process. Whatever plan you come up with in the beginning is really just the initial plan. As you work through the activities on your plan, you need to manage the implementation, keep yourself on track. The planning process is always being revised, so it's going to be alive. There are things that you're going to learn so you can modify what you're going to be doing. You need to review your progress towards your goals. As you start to reach goals, that's great. If you're not, you may find that some of your assumptions about how you're going to do things have to be changed, which then could lead to revising your approach. So managing and working with your plan is very, very important. And the other part of your plan is to break it down into small steps, and make sure that you have activities in very important areas like the sales, the marketing, the technology. And you also need to have in place a process where you revisit your plan on a regular basis, whether it's weekly, monthly, whatever works for you, to make sure you're reviewing that. It's your roadmap to success, and you have to make sure you understand if you've taken detours. Okay. Now, do we have any questions, April?
No, we don't, Bill.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is understanding your financial options. Okay. Now, a lot of people, when they start a business, say, gee, I heard about these grants. I heard about some money that somebody's going to give me so I can start my business. Well, fundamentally, grants are not available for startups. Okay. Now, other options are a thing that is called bootstrapping. That's where you're using your own money, or you're using money from friends and family who believe in what you're going to be doing. The pros of bootstrapping is you do not have to answer to investors. You're the boss. The con is, well, it's your personal money that's at risk. There are also microloans, which are small, short-term loans for small businesses. Now, they may be available through your bank, and they may be guaranteed by the Small Business Administration, the SBA. Now, the con of a microloan is that you must have a good credit rating, and they're not available everywhere. Now, what we mean by a good credit rating is typically you will require a rating of approximately 680 or above to actually have a bank listen to you and talk to you about getting a loan, or a financial institution. Now, the last area that we look at is called crowdfunding. You've probably all heard about it, but what is crowdfunding? Crowdfunding is a network of people who pool their money and their resources together. Now, the pros of crowdfunding: it is relatively quick to set up. Okay? It helps. Now, the reaction to your initiative will help guide you to understand who's interested in your business idea and does it make sense. It's also a relatively cheap form of financing. Now, the cons. Well, the rules of various crowdfunding organizations can be very confusing and difficult to understand. Often, if you set a goal, which you will have to set up, and you don't reach your goal, you don't get anything. And sometimes it is very difficult to reach your fundraising goals. You've probably heard of organizations like Kickstarter or GoFundMe. There's a lot of them out there that you can explore, and we can help you work through that process. Okay. Now, what are the structures that you can understand to start your business? A lot of people start out, especially if they're a single person business, as a sole proprietorship. It's relatively inexpensive, about $35 a setup. It is the most common form of startups, and you can always modify your structure as your business grows and you need to understand the different requirements of the businesses. Now, in a sole proprietorship, the profits, losses, and the debts are the responsibility of the owner. So all of that is treated as personal information. You could also start a partnership. You may have somebody who wants to work with you on this business. And this is where, two or more people share the ownership. It is important to understand in a partnership that each partner contributes to various aspects or defined aspects of the business. Each partner shares in the profits and losses based on how they agreed that will be set up. And it's very important to have a partnership agreement that defines a lot of things. How you're going to share the profits and losses, how you're going to share the responsibilities. And one of the things that a lot of partnership agreements overlook is it's great when you're starting out, but what happens if one of the partners wants to move on? How does that partner get out? And it's very important to define that at the beginning of the process so that it's understood and that it alleviates a number of problems that could come up. Now, after the partnership, there's also corporations. There's two types there. There is the C Corp and the S Corp. Now, the advantage of a corporation, there is an amount of protection to the owners. So they're not personally liable for everything. Now, the C Corp is taxed on the profits of the corporation, and then the income that is paid to the owners, which is called dividends, is also taxed. So there is a possibility of a double taxation that you're dealing with. Now, the other version of the corporation is an S Corp. That offers the same type of protection to the owners, a liability protection, but you do not pay taxes on the profits of the business. All of the income from the business is viewed as personal income and treated as personal income to the owner. Now, the last version of a corporation is the LLC, or limited liability company. That blends the elements of partnerships and corporations. And the nice thing about that, it provides a limited liabilities to the owners of the corporation in most states. Now, the only thing that is liable is the assets of the company. So basically, there's like a block to them getting access to your personal assets. Okay. Now, I guess, April, any questions?
Okay, no, there's no questions, Bill.
Okay, perfect. Now, you've probably all heard about the things that you need to do to make sure your business is an entity and that it gets registered properly. Okay, so basically, you need to register the name of your business, and there's a link there that will be sent to everybody at the end of this. You can either go to the county clerk's office, or in Suffolk County, you can go to that website, and there's a process to go through to register your business name. You must also register for state and local taxes purposes. And to do that, you would have to go to the newyork.gov site. And basically, there's the requirements of establishing that so the sales taxes and things of that are handled properly. There's also a series, depending on the type of business that you would get into, permits and licenses that are required. Some are by state, some are by county, or even sometimes there are towns that have various requirements for you if in the type of business that you're going to be in. So it's important to look at those sites, the state, the county, and the local town sites, to understand the requirements that for the business you're getting into. And you've probably all heard of the EIN, which is the Employee Identification Number, which is your IRS tax number that you will have to use to file your tax returns for your business. And if you want to learn more about those, there's a lot of details to go through. We could help you at the Business Center, the Business Development Center, to understand those. But there is also a website, the SBA Gov Licenses and Permits website. Okay. Now, let's talk about the resources that you may need for your business. Well, there's a lot of things that you can do online so that you can learn about your business, the various aspects. You can do Google searches and things of that nature. There's also resources within your community. Well, it's like your library, the Brentwood Library, or there's community organizations like the Chamber of Commerce. There could be local business organizations that you can reach out to network and understand how to run your business. You can also rely on family and friends. There's also the networking opportunity. And we also want to let you know that at the Business Development Center, we can assist you in every step of the way in order for you to start, run, and make your business successful. And basically, there's a link here. We have workshops on almost every area of starting and running a business. From working on your business plan, from developing your marketing plan, from possibly getting some loans if you qualify for that, to creating and managing your online presence in all levels of social media and all those things. So those websites, workshops are on our website. Some of them are recorded, like this one will be, and then there's ones that are coming up. So it's very important to understand that and use that as a resource. It's free. Okay. Now, we talk about networking, and basically we want to let you know that the Stony Brook Small Business Development Center works with a lot of organizations in the area. We have contacts in the area. So therefore, if you're working with us and there's something that comes up that we need assistance in, we have the ability to reach out to those, set up the relationship, and make sure you get the assistance that you may need to start and run your business. And these are ongoing relationships. Also, there are special events that we host to support the small businesses in the area. There's this annual manufacturing conference that we can work with the people who are starting out and with the small manufacturing. We have a very focused area that we've been building over a period of time to support the growing Hispanic community. and there's meetings and strategy sessions. We also have, we put in this, that at Stony Brook University, there's a Student Entrepreneur Challenge, and there's students can get up to $50,000 to start their business. And there is also with the B&B Bank, who you may know is going to be merging with Dime, and it's becoming a slightly different name. There is a technology entrepreneur program where people come and who have developed something, and actually they compete and they win $10,000 to move their business idea forward. And basically here is a list of all the contacts. This information will be sent to everybody who's attending this session. The top contact is the Stony Brook Small Business Development Center website. That has everything on it. If you're interested in contacting us to make an appointment, there will be a link sent to you where you can actually click on the link, request an appointment, and there's a small, brief form that you fill out so we can set up a meeting, which is usually set up in a couple of days, so we can start talking and supporting you in your business activity. Now, the other thing that we have is we have 2 promotional videos, one in English and one in Spanish, where you can see some of the activities that we work on. We also have a mailing list that you can sign up for. If you'd like to call the office, there is a phone number, so you can actually set up a meeting that way. And we also work closely with the Miller Business Center in Center Reach. They have a very active and very good business library. Okay. And basically that's the presentation. And one of the things we like to say is, you've paid for the service. It's your tax dollars that you can use and can work for you. And we welcome anybody who's interested so we can support them in starting their business.